to Where I Long to Be, a magical trip report podcast. My name is Virginia, and I am your host. Thank you to everyone for checking in on me and for commiserating with my kidney stone incident. I really have been feeling good the past couple of days, which is a relief, but it felt really great to know how many of you care. You are the best listeners a girl could hope for. I am officially in the less than 30 days until my own next magical trip time frame, and I am getting so excited. Does anyone else have the issue when a trip is on the horizon when you start to think of all the things you need before a trip? Like, suddenly I'm throwing things into my shopping cart online, and truthfully, I could just throw things into a bag today and be ready because I'm always ready for a trip. But I start to think of all the other little things that I would like to have, and one thing leads to another, and suddenly I've spent a pretty penny before I've even left on my trip. Is it just me? I hope not. If it's you too, and you have any new finds that are too good to pass up and you want to share your recommendations, I will take them and be happy to share them with listeners. And now let's get into this week's post-trip report. If you didn't get a chance to listen to the pre-trip report, Chris, his wife Krissy, and their son Vinny were heading out on their very first Disney cruise. They have cruised before, but this time their wish came true and they sailed on the Disney Wish. This cruise was bookended by one night at All-Star Sports and 2 nights at Coronado Springs. That should be all you need to know to be caught up. Please welcome back Chris. Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you for having me back. This is always so exciting to talk Disney.
It is always exciting to talk Disney. I'm sorry we weren't able to cruise right into your post-trip interview, but both of our schedules, here we are a month later. So I'm hoping that you will still be fresh on everything. I know you have all of your stuff in front of you, so hopefully you remember, and it's a good time remembering.
Yeah, for a first sailing, I definitely... It will be something I never forget. Every day I wake up and I think about it.
Let's dive right in then. So you did one night at All-Star Sports before you went on this cruise. So let's talk about that. Sunday, April 12th was the day you headed out of Reagan National Airport at the crack of dawn.
Yep, very early.
Scheduled to get in around 9 a.m. at MCO. So how was your flight?
Flight was good. We had actually... Normally I drive and park at the airport, but this time we scheduled an Uber to come pick us up because it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to pay for parking for 7 days, so that all worked out actually very nicely. We got to the airport with plenty of time. There were no issues with TSA, and the flight down was perfect. Everybody was happy, and we were probably on property by 10:30, 11 maybe. It was pretty quick.
Yeah, being in New York City, I generally will schedule a Lyft over to the airport. And I don't know if Uber is the same way, so maybe you can tell me. But when you schedule a Lyft to the airport, because you're going to an airport, they have a guarantee that they will pick you up on time. And if they are late, they owe you $100.
Oh, well, next time I'm going to schedule a Lyft. I don't know if Uber has that kind of... There was a guarantee, that there was... But they didn't... I didn't see anything about getting $100 if they were late, but luckily our person was on time.
Yeah, I mean the catch to that is, and it says right there when you book it, basically, is that they will not sit around and wait long for you. So whereas when you normally call a car, there's a little bit of a grace period there for you to get out of where your house, your building, whatever.
Right.
And with this, you have 5 minutes, and if you're not done there in 5 minutes, then you don't get anything. So
right.
All right, so you were also going to be taking Uber over to All-Star Sports, and I did not write it down, but can you help me remember, have you stayed at All-Star Sports before?
No, we haven't. My wife and I stayed when we were not husband and wife. We went with a group of friends a long time ago and stayed at All-Star Movies. Mm-hmm. So we've never stayed at All-Star Sports. But I feel like you stay at one All-Star, you stayed at them all.
Sure. Hey, now, you're an all-star.
Exactly.
In this case, get your game on because it's All-Star Sports.
Yeah.
So which section of All-Star Sports were you put into?
Luckily, we got a preferred room through our travel agent. We didn't originally book that, but then one of those discounts, something came up, and she emailed us right away and was like, I got you a better deal. I saved you $9, and you're in a preferred room. I was like, okay, great. That's perfect. Great. So we were in the football rooms, I guess. Mm-hmm. We had a room on the first floor, relatively close to the main building, and like very close to the playground, which was great for our 6-year-old. He really liked that. We originally thought that the main pool was going to be closed because everything that was online said that it was closed for refurbishment and that it would open sometime in 2026, and it opened. I don't know if it opened on the day we got there, or maybe it was open the day before, but it was open, so that was great. We were prepared to go somewhere, to go to one of the other pools or to the smaller pools, so we were able to enjoy that, which was great.
Yeah. With All Stars, because they are all kind of close together and they're what I would refer to as sister resorts, sort of like yacht and beach or sister or brother resorts, I imagine that you do have some flexibility about pool hopping, which you don't usually have among other Disney resorts.
Yeah, you can go to the other pools at the other All-Stars. There is, at All-Star Sports, there was the main big pool, and then there was a smaller pool over by the baseball area, which wasn't too far from us either. So there was a pool on property, but it was good to have the big like surfs up pool.
Right. Yeah, I was there the first week in May for the second time staying at All Star Sports, and I have yet to go over and take a look at that smaller pool. So I have no idea what it looks like. On the map, it looks quite a bit smaller.
Yeah, it is, but it's a nice little. It's very cool in that like it's like a baseball diamond. So it's very cool over there.
Okay. That is cool. Okay, follow-up question to your travel, because I just noticed here in my notes that you had told me about an inflatable booster seat. So
yes.
I want to know about that. How did it work out?
Yeah, it worked out great. We're still using it. We just got back from an unrelated, not Disney trip, and we used it because we had rented a car. And it worked out great. Once it was inflated, we were able to get it into the Uber relatively easily. It was a little harder at 4 o'clock in the morning in the complete darkness, but it worked out great. My son likes it. He sits in it. It just like lifts him up high enough so that the regular seatbelt can work, and then there's some other strap that goes on to help like move it away from his neck. Right. But it does work, and it keeps him contained and safe and everything, and we didn't have any issues with it. Perfect. We were able to deflate it, and then when we were done, we didn't need it, right? We were able to deflate it to put it in the suitcase to put on a plane, so it all worked out great.
And just for listeners, a reminder, Vinny is 6, so we're not talking about a toddler here. This is a slightly older child who still needs a booster.
And the laws in Florida are different than they are in other states. We do have this is a full-fledged car seat. No, my wife did a lot of research, and it seemed perfectly acceptable for travel. We also have a friend that uses one up here because they don't have a car, and they take a lot of Ubers for their kids.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Came on recommendation.
Technical question about this inflatable booster seat. Do you have to inflate it manually, or does it come with some sort of pump?
You do inflate it manually. There was some kind of tube, but it didn't seem like you needed a lot. Okay. There must be enough padding in there. You just sort of.
Okay.
It didn't take I didn't inflate it. My wife did, so I cannot tell you exactly how difficult it was, but no, it was an inflatable. There was like a tube.
Okay. I'm just imagining like passing out trying to get this thing ready to go.
I don't think it didn't take as long as you would think in a situation to inflate it. So.
Okay. I'm going to ask if you can please send me the link to it so that I can put that in the show notes for anybody who is looking for something like that. All right, let's move into the rest of this arrival day. I have in my notes that you planned to grab breakfast, do some pool time if you could, and specifically you had wanted to also do some pin trading.
Yeah, so we got there. We were obviously hungry. We got some food at the food court relatively quickly because our room wasn't ready, of course.
Of course, not at that time of the morning.
No, of course, though, once we got the food and sat down, it was ready. So we did get it relatively early, which is great. So we got some food, and then we went and got to the room, had the bags brought over, hung out, and then immediately Vinny wanted to go in the pool and do all that, so we did. We went in the pool, we hung out there for a bit until about lunchtime, and we decided to go over to the boardwalk area for lunch. The Epcot boardwalk area, take a bus. I think we took a bus over to we took a bus to Hollywood Studios, and then we took the Skyliner over to the Epcot entrance, and then took a boat over to Boardwalk. So we really did all of the things.
Oh, wow. You're like, we're getting every form of transportation, a plane, a car,
yes,
a bus, a Skyliner, and a boat, all in one day within the span of probably 5 hours.
That's very true. The only thing we're missing was the monorail, and we didn't have that day. But we do. I love the transportation. That's probably one of my favorite things. So we definitely wanted to prioritize that. My wife wanted to go over to the boardwalk because she loves that area. But what we didn't realize in the poor planning of this, it was as we kept saying, the heat of the day. It was extremely hot, and there wasn't much open for lunch over there.
Okay.
And so, because it's more of a nighttime place, so all that stuff kind of opens up like at 4:00. The only options that we had, we tried to get into Cake Bake Shop. That obviously we didn't make a reservation in advance, so we didn't get in there. We ended up eating the blue corn dog plate, which we wanted to try. They have like the corn dog stand there but it was just hot. It was all fried. We ate. It was fine. We found some shade like outside of Abracadabra, and we made it work. But we have made mental notes. Boardwalk for lunch, unless you have a reservation somewhere, doesn't seem as appealing in the heat of the day.
Did you check and see if there were any spots available at Beaches and Cream?
That was also not available. Yeah, we tried that. It was we accepted the fact that we didn't do some very good planning that day, but it was okay. We ate. We did some shopping at the boardwalk stores, and ended up heading back to the resort so that Vinny could do some more swimming, we could rest, and all that stuff before we had to head out. So yeah, we'd stopped by the store at All Star Sports and looked at the pin stuff there, there's a pin trading board in the store, there was one in the food court, so we took a look at those. And that was fun. We did that at Boardwalk, but there wasn't as much in the stores there. And it was just so hot, that's one of the things. And it's like when the weather hits, all bets are off for me. It's like, we're so hot, he's cranky, I'm cranky. Let's just go back and try and, just not wear ourselves out before we get on the cruise. So that's what we did.
Right. Did you end up doing anything that evening for dinner off of All Star Sports property, or did you go back to the food court?
We went back to the food court. I have to say it was nice and clean. It was cold. It was very convenient. They have all the traditional fare that you want, and even some like rice bowls and things. So it worked out for us. We got something little, and then Vinny wanted to go back in the pool. They were also showing a movie Under the Stars that night down at the baseball pool, and it was Cars. Vinny loves the movie Cars, so we went and watched that before he went.
Okay, what time the next day did you have to be up for the bus over to your Disney cruise?
I think the bus was picking us up around 9:15, I believe. I will say this is one area where the pre-cruise communication could have been better, in my humble opinion. I had to ask a lot of questions from like guest services, the front desk, I had to figure out. It wasn't very clear if we should leave our luggage. They were very clear that the luggage was going to be picked up at like 7:00 in the morning, but I didn't know if that meant I needed to leave it outside my door, which didn't make too much sense, or if they were going to knock on the door. I'm just that kind of person that likes to have all those little questions answered.
Right.
So I kept having to call, get those questions answered. We never got our luggage tags in the mail. Apparently this is a Disney Cruise Line thing. It's like 50-50 whether or not you get your luggage tags in the mail. It's really not that big of a deal because they do have them. They had them at Bell Services. I was able to pick them up, write our names on them. And even if we didn't have them there, I guess somebody would have dealt with it when we got to the port. For a person that likes to like plan and make sure, leave no stone unturned, those are the things that really burned in my brain. It's like, oh, I wish, just want to know whatever I'm supposed to do. So the luggage, they picked up the luggage. They were going to pick up the luggage at 7 from the room, which was great. We didn't have to wheel it over to the big building. And then the bus, we lined up about 9:15 with all the other people that were leaving from All Star Sports to go on our cruise, which was kind of fun.
Okay. How was the bus ride over there? How long did it take to get to the port?
There was no traffic. I know the bus was just one of those simple... Vinny was hoping that it was going to be that Disney Cruise Line bus, overlay on the bus, the wrap. It was just
Why was
normal...
it not?
I don't know.
That's part of the fun.
I agree. It was just a regular coach bus that would pick you up, for a field trip or something. But
a really
it was
field
Disney.
Trip.
It was Disney Cruise Line staffers that were there. They all wanted to see our passports and everything before we got on the bus. They checked us all in the lobby, which was great. And yeah, there was no trouble with the bus. It took about 45 minutes, I would say, not very long. I think I took a nap most of that trip. They have some cartoons and things that are playing on the screens, but it was a nice 45-minute nap to help you get ready for the day. So it was very easy.
Okay. All right. So you were hopping on this cruise on Monday, April the 13th, and you disembarked on Friday, April the 17th. And cruises can be somewhat challenging to talk about because it's not as regimented as going to a park is. So I'm just going to maybe talk about some things in categories, and then you can tell me what you want to tell me, and if you want to hop back to anything, you can. So I wrote down that you all were excited about seeing some of the shows on the ship. So how were those, and did you make it to all of them?
Oh, that's so funny. Best laid plans is all I would say. We did see we did find a spot to do the whole sail away party thing. That was great. I had to prioritize that. I wanted to hear those horns. That was like the moment. I would definitely say don't miss it. Even if you can't be in the front row, as long as you're out there on the deck and you can hear what's going on, that was great. So definitely don't miss the sail away party, especially for your first cruise ever on Disney. Then later that night, I think it was that night. I don't know if it was the first night or not. I think it was. They have Disney Sea, SEAS, the adventure, and it's sort of like a little review musical where they have a bunch of Disney, classic Disney songs that they go through. The characters are involved. The plot is Goofy has a dream of being a captain, and it all works out in the end. But it was very cool. That was great. And it was one of those it was a nice start to the cruise. The production value was definitely felt very Broadway. It was really, really good. That was the only stage show we saw. They did have Aladdin on board and Little Mermaid, but that did not happen. It did not happen in our cruise. I will take the time. I'll say this. One of the things that we experienced was Disney Cruise Line does not populate the app with what is going on the ship every day until you connect to the ship's Wi-Fi. You can do that when you get to the terminal, to the port, but my experience on other cruise lines is you do get all that information a couple days beforehand. And so you can take some time to figure out what you want to do each day. If you're going to have dinner at a certain time, here's this, and you can start to put your schedule together. And not having that, I think, kind of sending us in blind a little bit. Then it was overwhelming with all of the options that we had to do and trying to factor in when Vinny might want to do the kids club. And he wasn't really excited about the shows, so if he was, I think that would have been one thing. But he was not excited. So we saw the one show, and nothing.
I mean, if you're gonna pick from the shows that they had, and your choices were Aladdin, Little Mermaid, and something that was original for a ship, I would choose the one that I can't see anywhere else.
That is how we felt too. We were we already know what happens in the other ones. So as nice as they would have been, I didn't necessarily feel like I was missing out on it. So if it had been, I will say, if it had been Hercules, which they have
Might have
on,
been
I
a
think,
different
one of the other
story.
ones, I would have been a different story, for sure.
Yeah, well, Hercules, is not something that's playing on Broadway right now.
Mm-hmm,
It is
mm-hmm.
also, I don't think, touring. I did see a production of it at the Paper Mill Playhouse, which is right across the way in New Jersey and is basically Broadway, because all of the people just go out there to work. And so it's really good quality shows. And I saw the production of Hercules there, and I really thought it was going to transfer to Broadway, and it
I
did not.
think it's in the West End in London right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the same production. Like, is it the same staging, that
Okay.
sort of thing? I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it. I would recognize it if I saw it because I remember, what is his little sidekick's name?
The Goat?
I think it's a goat. Is it
Phil?
a goat?
Phil?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He wears like a tracksuit, like an Adidas
Oh, okay.
tracksuit in the production I saw. Now maybe the costumes have
That
changed,
makes
but anyway,
sense.
it was cute, and it was really obviously most fun to see the muses because they were
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, you mentioned the kids club. So did Vinny head off to the kids club? Did he love it? And what were some of the things he enjoyed there?
Yeah, one of the on your first day when you get on, they have an open house, so you can go in and you do need to go in and register him. So they have all of our information, his information, et cetera, et cetera. So we do that on the first day. We can go in with him to go see everything and show, otherwise your parent, there's gates and things. Your parents are not allowed back there. No adults except for the staff, which is great. Nice and secure. So we did do that, and he was sort of, he's a little shy, and so he gets nervous about things like that. But I will say, ultimately, we made some deals, we dropped him off, and then once he got to experience it himself, he did end up liking it and wanting to go back. I think he was most excited about every time we would say, "What'd you do?" He goes, "Oh, I just did screens. Like a tablet or something." And, because we try not to do too many. He has tablets and things, but of course we try to like limit it when we
Right.
can. He's like, "Ooh, I'm just gonna play with screens." Well, did you play with anybody else? Did you learn anybody's name? Yeah. So some people. Not me.
Yeah.
I mean, they had all kinds of activities. They have different types of rooms. There was a Star Wars area, a Marvel area. There was a simulator, like a ride simulator, where you can sort of build your own roller coaster, and then you sit in the little car, and they have these screens around you, so it looks like you're kind of on the roller coaster. And then the staff are constantly putting on it. Anytime we went to go pick them up, they were doing some kind of activity or something in like their main area. So he did end up liking it. There was a couple times where he'd asked to go, he's like, I don't want it. Can I just go back? Can I just do that? And then of course the times where we wanted him to go, he wasn't interested. So
Oh.
but yeah, I mean he did like it. I believe that I don't think anybody holds a candle to Disney when it comes to like entertaining children and making parents feel comfortable to leave their kids there. And it was so. I don't think anybody holds a candle to it.
Yeah.
He enjoyed it. I think when we go and do another one of these, he will probably want to do it more. Interestingly enough, they have kids clubs on their islands, so that's not something that like Royal Caribbean doesn't have. That I don't think Norwegian has that. They don't. So you can go to the days that you're at the Lookout Key or Castaway Key. You can actually leave your kid at the kids club on the island, which I think is cool because then there's you can have adult only time on the island. Of course, Vinny was not interested in doing any of the island time, and he wanted to be with mom and dad, which was fine. But it is there, and they're open from like 11 to 2. They will actually also feed them lunch on the island. That's something that they don't do on the ship. On the ship, you got to feed your own kid, but on the island they will feed them.
Okay.
Because it's over that lunchtime period.
Yeah.
But he wasn't interested in doing that.
Well, you mentioned Castaway Key and Lookout Point. Your cruise went to both locations. So can you maybe do some comparing and contrasting and what your experiences were with both?
So yeah, after our first night, the itinerary was Castaway Key, Lookout Key, and then a day at sea. So we were, it was just a 4-night cruise. We were back to back with everything. Castaway Key was, is the OG island. It feels like Disney. We only, I think, scratched the surface of what there is to do. We picked a place to plop down, and that was it. We just stayed there. It's very, it's all kind of lagoons, so there's no waves or anything. Very different from Lookout Key. So it's just very chill. The water is, beautiful. Good access to food, and everything is clean. And it was just, it was great. We didn't go over to any of the splash pads for Vinny or anything like that. He was just focused on hanging out, playing with the sand, playing in the water. So Castaway was great. The food was some typical barbecue fare, and we didn't really do too much exploring other than we were there for a good part of the day. You get in pretty early, and they think you're there until about 4 o'clock. So if you want, you can spend the whole day there, but we were probably back on the ship by 2:30, 3 o'clock. So then there's Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. It's a very long name. It's just Castaway Key at nothing, and then Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point.
I feel like we should shorten that, like LKLP.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. This is the newer island. It's on another Bahamian island. But it's like a portion of it, sort of like Labadee on Haiti. It's not an actual. It's just a portion of a larger island, completely private and completely away from everything. But I think Castaway Key is its own island. And when you get off the boat, this is you've probably seen pictures of this online or video, the long pier that Disney built, specifically because they did not want to mess with the wildlife and the coral that is close to the shore. And so they built this long pier all the way out where the ship docks, and then you have to walk all the way up to the island, to the island. It's the island.
Sure.
And that walk from the ship, when you're looking at it, looks very intimidating. That was one thing I wasn't looking forward to. I didn't know how that was going to go. There's no cover. It's just you're exposed to the sun, and you're sent off. And it actually wasn't that bad. A steady pace and some water along the way. There was, it really honestly wasn't that bad. It was very breezy. You made it there. They did have wagons available if you wanted to put your stuff in it or your child and pull them along. And then, for guests that do have medical issues, mobility issues, what have you, they do have carts that you can wait for, request. But of course, Disney prefers, just if you really need it, it's there. Otherwise, it's not being offered as an option, for everybody. And then once you get there to the island itself, you have to actually get on a tram. Castaway Key also has a tram to take you to the different areas, but you have no choice. Once you get to the end of the pier, you have to get on a tram and take about a 7-minute tram ride to get over to all of the different areas that Lookout Key has. And this is much more like a beach, much more like you're on the ocean. There are, the waves are crashing on the sand, just like on the Jersey Shore or some, beach, in Florida. Very different. I say that because I got beat up by some coral. I was in the water, just walking along, and all of a sudden, I'm in coral, and my leg, I was like, for a moment there, I was like, woohoo, I was legitimately a little terrified, but of course you get out, and I'm like, it wasn't that bad. There was a couple scrapes, but, I was like, I'm done with the water. I'm gonna go. I went and that happened. It happened about an hour and a half, 2 hours into my time there, so it wasn't that bad. But
so that's giving me a clue that maybe it's not super clear water.
Yeah, it's definitely it's got the sand in it. It's not that. Yeah, it definitely we're both from New York. It definitely gave me like the Rockaways kind of feel.
Got it.
It was definitely ocean water. And it wasn't that kind of glassy water that you do have at Castaway Key, where it's more chill, the water's calm, you're really just kind of in a pool, and there's fish swimming around. This was definitely a beach kind of setup, and it was nice, it was beautiful, but it's different. You got to be careful about riptides and the water's moving in and out, and I'm sure on some days when the water is really rough, maybe they have restrictions and things. But.
Okay.
Same food setup there. After my run-in with the coral, I went and found a smoothie bar somewhere and just sat there and waited until Krissy and Vinny were done. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And of course, there's merchandise everywhere. There's Castaway Key specific merchandise, Lookout Key specific merchandise, specific pins. So I did pick up some island pins. Lookout Key has a lot more cultural Bahamian like, shops and things there too that they don't necessarily have at Castaway Key. So there's a little more culture from the area built into the island, which was purposefully done, which is nice.
What is your preference between the two?
The coral really is going to be in the back of my mind.
A darn coral.
I think when we go back to Castaway Key, I want to give that a full indulgence of it, because I do like that type of water environment. I love being in the water, but I do like it when I can just sort of just sit and the fish are swimming around you and I don't have to worry about waves and things like that. So I think my preference would be Castaway, but Lookout is very beautiful. I mean, they are very different. So, if you have them both on your itinerary, they will not feel the same. You should go to both because they're very different.
Okay. All right, let's talk pirate night. I know that Krissy had bought some pirate things, and you had a special Roosevelt shirt that you had managed to acquire. So how was that?
Yeah, Pirate Night so they have a special menu on Pirate Night. Whatever restaurant that you were eating in that evening, it doesn't have that normal menu. Everybody has the same menu. There are some folks that are not so hot on the Pirate Night menu. I think I would include myself in that. It's a little more, when I think pirate, I think simple. So I was expecting chicken tenders, fried chicken, burger, I don't know, something just like a turkey leg, I don't know, something. And instead, it was very seafood based, and there was a lot more of exotic flavors that, especially for the kids, like if you're just not, or picky adults, yeah, I could definitely see why people are like, I don't know what's going on with this menu. But, we got through it. There were there's two pirate shows that they do. There's one that they do on the deck that involves Mickey and Minnie and all that. And then there's another show that they do later, which is when they also do the fireworks. That there's more of it's like a rock band, some kind of pirate rock band. Captain Jack Sparrow makes an appearance, and then they do the fireworks. We skipped the first show with the characters because we had late dining, so there's like the early seating at like 5:30, and then there's a late seating at 8:15. We were doing the late dining. Spoiler alert, I don't think we would do that again. But,
okay.
So that, I think, precluded us from the early show, but we made it for the late show. Vinny was not interested in at this point doing the fireworks. He just wanted to go to the kids club, so we let him do that. Although he specifically asked us to videotape the fireworks for him, so we did that. And we were able to go up to the adults only area of the ship and get a nice little spot along with the railing there and enjoy the fireworks. And we did. I put on my Roosevelt shirt, and Krissy put on her little costume, and there were lots of people dressed up, and ARG mateys and all that stuff. It was, I could do with or without Pirate Night. It's not a necessity for me, but it was cute.
Well, I think that Disney has other options as far as themed nights go. So hopefully the next time you're on a ship, maybe you'll have a different option. All right, let's talk about dining.
Yes. So they, Disney Cruise Line does this rotational dining. So depending on what ship you're on, you'll have different restaurants. Sometimes you'll have the same. On the Wish, we had 1923, which was akin to Walt and Roy Disney, very like Art Deco classic theming. They have a lot of like artifacts and drawings from early Disney films, and just very like dark and classy. Then there's World of Marvel, there's a Marvel show, and there's lots of screens around you, and Ant-Man and the Wasp are involved, and then there are these quantum bibbidi boops on your table, and
wait, was that the technical term, bibbidi boops?
I don't remember what they're called. They're like quantum tubes, and you had to interact with them when he told you had to interact with them when I'm doing air quotes. interact with them when he told you to. Spider-Man he bops around at some point. And then the third restaurant was Arendelle, which is all Frozen.
Yeah.
And there's a show, and they have a stage, and there's people singing, and Olaf makes an appearance. I would say World of Marvel was not good. I thought that the food wasn't that great. If you read the internet, which people really shouldn't do that, but if you do, the internet says that the Disney Cruise Line food is not the best.
Okay.
I would mostly agree with that. I felt that the food at the restaurants was actually not as good as the food at the buffet or the quick service restaurants. But World of Marvel was at the bottom of the list. I didn't really like the food. The whole premise of it, it's just screens. It was just videos. Ant-Man would tell you to do something. You play with the gobbledygook on the table. And then, Spider-Man makes a weird appearance, and the cast member is walking around with them being like, Spider-Man's coming. If you want to take a video, you should turn your videos on now because he can't talk to you. He can't take it. He has no time for pictures, no time for signatures. So that was that. 1923, we actually had on the first night, and I think that just suffered from being the first night place.
Okay.
The food was good. It was your typical, I think we had steaks, and it was all good, and the dining staff was very nice and was very attentive to us and to Vinny. We got a picture with the head waiter at the end of our cruise because he was so nice to Vinny and just, messing around with him and stuff like that. Your dining team, your wait staff travels with you to each of the restaurants. So you sit at the same number table, you have the same waiters, and so that's nice that you do at least get that even though you're moving around. The Arendelle was... People, again, the internet says it's not so good. I disagree. Arendelle was fantastic. I'm so glad. I wish I could have eaten there every night. The food was really good. I thought that the show was fantastic. It felt like Disney. It felt like you could take that experience, put it in the park somewhere, and it was just like that. Everything was perfect. The food was great. The ambiance was great. The show was excellent. People, there was this, because, the songs, everyone's singing, and it was just that group dynamic of, having a good time, and, Vinny really enjoyed it too, and they have Anna and Elsa come around to the tables, Olaf is rolled around, and that, to me, was the pinnacle of, when you think of a Disney cruise, this is what you're getting, and that's why you're going, because it was that good, Yeah, it had the same emotional effect as watching Happily Ever After, fireworks. It was that good. It was so good.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then outside of the rotational dining, the Mickey's Festival of Foods, which is their quick service, all of that was so good. Everything there was delicious, and like I said, I think even better than the dining rooms. We tried room service one night. That was great. And the buffet was great too.
Okay. Also related to dining, you had said that you were going to try for a last minute Palo brunch. And I don't know if you tried for that.
We tried on that was one of the first things we did when we got on the ship. When we got on the ship, we went over to the dining reservation people and tried to see if there was any possibility of that, but there wasn't. They put us on a wait list, but I never heard anything. Okay. And from what I understand, it's really just based on your Castaway Club status.
Sure.
So because we'd never sailed before, we didn't have any status. When we sail again, we'll be silver, and that means you can book that stuff earlier. So the better your status, the earlier you can book, the better chance you have at getting the reservation. So we didn't get it, and that was fine.
How did you feel about the accommodations? Was your room satisfactory for the needs of your family?
I think we were very spoiled by there's a lot of talk about whether or not our first cruising was on the Wish, which is one of their newest ships. So it's got all the bells and whistles. The room, has the split bathroom with the toilet in one room and the tub in another, both of them having sinks. That was great. The whole room was it was just great. Everything was great. It was perfect. They're nice and spacious, I think. No more cramped than any other, balcony stateroom. We did have a balcony on this trip. I could take it or leave it. It was nice to have, but I don't think it's necessary. I like it cold anyway, so when you don't have a balcony, it stays nice and cold in the room. Everything was great. They have an actual, instead of normally you having a sort of a beverage cooler, I still think they call it a beverage cooler, but it was a drawer, so you pulled it out from the thing, and it was like all built into the desk. You pull it out and you sort of drop things into it instead of having the traditional fridge style, which was cool. Our stateroom attendant asked if we wanted, because your room can actually sleep 4. Mm-hmm. 2 in the bed and then 1 on the couch, and then there's a pull-down bunk. Mm-hmm. And she gave us the option of whether or not Vinny wanted to be on the couch or on the pull-down bunk bed. And he, of course, was like, I want the bunk bed. So that was nice. One of the things I think is really great about Disney Cruise Line is they do they do a evening turn down. So you have your room, will be cleaned in the middle of the, sometime after in the morning, and then they will turn down your room for sleep. So the Vinny's bed that would be up in the ceiling, they would put that up in the ceiling until it was time to go to sleep, which is great, because then they will come in and change out towels if you need to, or make your bed, and, so that is something that they don't do on other ships. Other cruise lines, which I think is a nice touch. And then there's always a towel animal and some candy, and the service was just great. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. I think that's all the categories that I wanted to ask about. So is there anything that you haven't yet shared about this cruise portion of your vacation that you wanted to share?
Yeah. The activities. We've done a lot of cruising, and we love trivia and all of the games and stuff that they do. And so we really tried to take advantage of that as much as possible when Vinny was in the kids club or where he came with us. So one of the things I really wanted to do was win a trivia contest, because on Disney Cruise Line, they give you a plastic little rubber medal. Happy to say that we did win one. We won Cars trivia, and our son knew all of the answers. So we actually had to go to a bonus round against two other teams, and we ended up pulling it out. So
wow.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It was that was like a highlight, I would say. We got those medals, and it was just, so all the activities were great. There's karaoke, there's trivia with music, Disney songs, not to mention all kinds of other things, drawing classes, tastings you can do, for adults. There was just a lot to do on board, and we really took advantage of that. They also they will do first run movies. So at the time we went, Hoppers had just come out, and so we were able to watch Hoppers on the ship. So that was fun. We did watch that. Admittedly, I did fall asleep in the middle of it. Not because of the movie, but because it was just a dark room. It was a dark room, and I was in a comfortable chair, and took advantage of that. So that was actually cool. Vinny liked that. That's just something special, And if they were playing that before it came out in theaters. So if you were on the ship even prior to that, you were kind of getting a first look at it. The other thing we did was we went to a Disney Vacation Club presentation.
No, you did not. Oh my gosh.
Did. Okay. We did, and we did end up signing up for DVC on the boat.
Oh my God, Chris. Wow. Way to keep a secret from me.
I was going to bury the lead on that one so we can get pure reaction.
That's amazing. Yeah, welcome to the family.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was not something I was thinking about doing. I mean, we've been thinking about doing it. When we got on the ship, I saw on the app that there was a presentation. So we were like, okay, why don't we just go? We know that I think they were offering $50 credit on your account, so I was like, why don't we just go? We've never done a presentation before, so let's just do it. We go in, we are one couple, and there was another couple and another singular person. By the end of the presentation, we were the only people left in the room. He's they were like, oh, do you want to sign up and talk to us? I'm like, okay, fine, we'll do that. And of course,
it spiraled from there.
It spiraled. I did receive something in my email just prior to sailing we have the Disney Visa, and they were doing some kind of promotion that caught my eye that was like, I don't even honestly remember what it was. Some kind of promotion that was like, I don't know if it was some kind of discount. I don't know how you can get a discount on DVC, but there was some kind of deal that they were running, but only for Disney Visa holders and only until the end of April. And so I was like,
okay.
I at least want to find out, what is this deal? What is this about? And then, of course, we get in there and he starts talking about, oh, well, there's this thing called Magical Beginnings where you can turn in the points that you would get for 2025 and we'll write you a check, which would basically cover your down payment. So why wouldn't you sign up? So I mean, that sold it for me. You know, I was like, as long as this monthly number works for me, why not? So didn't expect to sign up on the boat, but we did.
I went in not thinking I was going to buy a DVC either, and walked out with a contract and have not regretted it. I love it. How many points did you get, and what is your home resort?
We got 150 points at Riviera.
Oh, Riviera. Nice.
Well, they were only... So this was another interesting thing. We could probably talk about DVC for hours, but I didn't realize... I went in there being like, oh, I'm just going to get the cheapest option. What are the point values at, Old Key West? Well, Disney, they only sell the newest properties, so you can't actually buy direct from Disney at the older properties.
You can actually, but you have
or maybe
to be
not
willing,
through them.
You have to. You can have to be willing to wait for it, which is why you wouldn't have been able to necessarily do it like on the ship. So
Fair enough.
You are interested, because there are benefits to buying direct with Disney.
Yes,
and then you can get contracts on the resale market that limit some of your benefits, but you save a lot of money. So you have to determine, and of course I know all this after the fact, after I became a member, but you have to really weigh, does the cost savings mean more to you, or does being a full member where you can do all of the perks, which includes things like having access to sign up for the Moonlight Magic parties, being able to use your points at the 7-month mark at any of the Disney resorts, that sort of thing. You just have to kind of weigh that out. So if you are interested in, say, a contract from Old Key West or from Saratoga Springs or one of these older properties, you can say, I would really like to buy direct from Disney, but I'm specifically interested in the Polynesian, or I'm specifically interested in Wilderness Lodge, or whatever. What they do is they have this thing called right of first refusal, which means that if somebody is going to sell their contract, they have to first go through Disney, like whatever agency that they're working with would need to reach out to Disney to say, hey, these folks are going to sell their contract for X number of dollars per point, and this whatever use year it is, it's like you have the right to refuse this. Are you going to refuse it, or can we move forward with the sale? And if Disney refuses it, what it means is that Disney will pay whatever price that you were going to sell it for, but they'll buy it back from you. And so if they do that, that's how they receive a contract back that then they can turn around and sell it direct from Disney. And of course they mark the price back up. You're paying the direct Disney price. So you can do, like if you're dead set on buying directly from Disney and you're dead set on an older resort, you can make it happen. You just have to be clear, like, this is what I want. I will do this, but only if you get it, for these different conditions. So
well, the salesman did their sales job. And so I definitely wanted, we knew we wanted to buy direct because we wanted the benefits. And so we were, in my mind, I said, this is, it was really interesting doing it on the cruise, I will say. You're kind of trapped, right? So, you always, they know where you live. They can find your room. And I said to him, this monthly number is the number that is most important to me. Like, as long as this number, works for us, then we will, yes, and you've got a sale. Whatever happens, in the future, like you said, if we want to do something, if we want to add contracts or whatever, that's up to us. But we're direct with Disney for this one, so we get the point, we get the perks, and whatever happens down the road happens down the road.
Yeah, and I think some of the bigger perks to me, because like being able to sign up for Moonlight Magic is nice. I have done it before, and it's fun. That being said, you have to be planning to go to Disney at the time that they're offering
Right.
that. And if you don't already have a reservation, it becomes very competitive to get a reservation at the time at the party so that then you qualify to go to the party. The member lounges, it's cool to know that I have a lounge I can go to in Magic Kingdom or Epcot or if I'm out at Disneyland, but it's not worth the additional price for that per se because, you know, it's a space to hang out. You might get some little bags of Cheez-Its or whatever and, you know, some unlimited soda while you're sitting there enjoying the space.
Right.
The biggest perks, I would say, are that I can get a discounted annual pass, which is amazing. And then the dining discounts and the shopping discounts on a regular basis, because that does include when they do sales for annual pass holders. So like when I went in the first week of May with Jeanette and we stayed at All-Star Sports is affordable to begin with, but we got like 40% off because I had a discount. So yeah.
You said it. That is absolutely right. I mean, that's why I was like, you know, yeah, but like the merch discounts, the dining discounts, and being an out-of-state person, the ability to, and they are saying, I don't know who they is, but reports are out there that Disney is strongly considering, you know, within the next 6 to 12 months, lowering the price of the annual pass. And if they did that, assuming that nothing changes with the way that the DVC discount works, that makes it even cheaper. Which, that's what I'm waiting for. The minute they announce that, if that discount's still available to get that second level down, we're done. We're doing it, and there's no question.
And also, like, it would kind of, I mean, I would probably still buy the same level annual pass that I have just because I like how few restrictions there are on it. Like, the 2 weeks of the year, I think, that are blackout dates or the 2 times of the year, or not times I would be traveling anyway. But it would be nice, I think, for flexibility for people if there were, like, 2 levels of DVC discounted annual passes you could get, like one with more restrictions on it for somebody who just would like to save a little bit more money and doesn't necessarily have to go most of the weeks of the year. That'd be cool.
I would even take DVC members being allowed a payment plan.
Oh gosh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you could make it the normal price, but you know, let us have a little piece of the apple plan there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
it's especially like when you're buying for your whole family. Like it'd be different if I was just buying one for myself. But you know, every summer it's like 3 annual passes, please.
So we don't have them yet, but we're waiting to see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
One foot in the door. So I buried the lead on that one.
You're gonna really enjoy it.
I think so. We haven't made our first reservation yet. Because we have another trip coming up in July, so that we already have booked. So. We have not.
Here's my question. Did you close on your contract before the end of the cruise, or did that happen after the fact?
Oh, no, it happened after. It took, it took 30 days or whatever it was.
Okay.
In fact, on the bus ride back to the resort, we were signing.
Oh, wow.
We were docu-signing on the bus, but it closed like on, April 3rd.
So the next time you visit, even if you are not using a DVC room necessarily, like even if you just get a cash value stay for a night or whatever, my assumption is that the next time you scan yourself into a park, you will get the special green and pink lights and the welcome home message.
Yes.
And that's very exciting.
Looking forward to that. Yeah.
Wow. That's very exciting for you. I cannot believe. Like, I'm telling you, this is a month past the day you got back, and you held this information from me for that long just to get the live reaction.
Well, I wanted it to be something special for the podcast.
Yes, I appreciate that.
But yeah, so if anyone out there wants to know how it was like to buy DVC on the ship, let me know. Yeah. Because we did it. And then they gave us all of the every day, if you're a DVC member and you're on the cruise, every day you get a gift.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was like a magnet, a hat, or a water bottle, and they loaded us up as we were like walking out. He's like, "This is the most expensive tote bag you've ever gotten."
Take care of it. The zipper on mine broke, so I don't use it anymore. But
yeah, so
that's really cool.
That's the activities, but overall it was just It is, I think this is one of those situations where we love to cruise. We will not stop cruising non-Disney because it is expensive. Disney Cruise Line is, you are paying, but I do think you are getting your money's worth for sure. And, we are already in the process of booking our next one. So
okay. You got a placeholder?
It was great. We did get the placeholder, but interestingly enough, the placeholder has everything has restrictions, but you can only use the placeholder on certain date ranges. And because Krissy's a teacher, we're looking again back at when is her spring break in 2027, and that week only certain sailings were available for us to use the placeholder and get the discount.
Okay.
So it is a little restrictive, but the good thing about the placeholder is you make the placeholder. If you don't use it, you get your $250 back. Mm-hmm. So it's really it's not going to hurt you. And then if you do end up using it, then you use it. Otherwise, you get it back. And so it ended up that the dates that we're looking at, we didn't want to do the same exact sailing that was available, on the way, so we want to do something different. So hopefully what we're looking to book is something different. Mm-hmm. But we won't be using the placeholder because they didn't qualify, but it's fine.
So on Friday, April 17th, you disembarked and you were transferring over to Coronado Springs, which I know you stayed there the last time that you and I spoke. This was in a casita. So how was your stay at Coronado Springs this time?
It was great. We stayed in... I don't think it was a casita, because they all have different names.
I don't know all of the outer buildings casitas personally, and that's just me. Yes. I've decided they're all casitas.
And that's why I said we're staying in a casita, because that's what I was just calling all the buildings. Uh-huh. So it was the buildings that was closest to the pool.
Okay.
But basically between the tower and the pool. Mm-hmm. It ended up being great. We didn't have to... One thing is, if you're doing the transfer through Disney Cruise Line, whatever resort you're going to, they all leave at the same time. And when we told our wait staff the night before, because they were saying, here are your options for breakfast. They drop off luggage tags in your room, and you're supposed to leave when your luggage tag character is called, whatever. But if you're doing a Disney transfer, the waitstaff was like, you probably shouldn't get breakfast. You should, because you need to be waiting for your bus at 8:15. You need to just walk off the boat as early as possible.
Wow.
I was a little annoyed. I was like, oh, that would have been nice to know beforehand. Mm-hmm. So because they do have there's a dining room open for breakfast, and I think they actually prefer people to do that. Whatever the case may be. But luckily the buffet was open at 6, so I was able to get something to eat. Krissy and Vinny, on the other hand, they wanted to sleep in a little more, so I brought back some pastries because we were all nervous. We had to get off the boat, but the bus is going to leave without. They made us very anxious by telling us all this. And then their disembarkation procedure, I thought, was very chaotic. And I did some TikToks and Instagrams about this, but long story short, it was just very... They could have done a lot more with signage, a lot more information about where you were supposed to go. I just made some guesses that happened to be right. And then once you got to the main level, you were in this nebulous line that you were in. Mm-hmm. Hallways were two-way traffic. It felt very non-coordinated, which is not something I would have expected. And it took us a while to get through that procedure. So I was a little annoyed about that. But we did, because they made us so anxious about, not missing the bus. But when we did get off, we got on the bus, another 45 minutes back to Coronado Springs, and we had plans that evening. We didn't do much. We just hung out at the pool, and that evening we had dining reservations at Wailulu Bar and Grill during the fireworks. That worked out great. Everyone had a nice meal, and we were there for the fireworks. We were able to see them we were up along the window. Vinny and Krissy went outside for a little while, and were able to see them to kind of the outer area there. And then we took a minivan back to the resort and had a nice sleep. And then Saturday, we didn't do much. We resort hopping just to go and take the Skyliner and the boats. Went over to Riviera. I did not have the banana bread, the chocolate chip banana bread. I was so
not even to go, because I wrote down in my notes here, banana bread to go maybe.
Yep. The line was long and Vinny was not cooperating, so we'll just have to cross it off for our next DVC trip there. So it's, but we spent some time there, and we ended up. We had dinner that evening at Three Bridges with a friend of ours that also happened to be staying there at the same time, so that was great. The food there is really good, and the ambiance and the service and the location, it is one of the better experiences, I think, on a resort. So that was really, really cool. And then Sunday morning we had breakfast reservations at Topolino's.
And this was your first time?
Breakfast. Yes.
All right, thoughts?
And it was very good. Friends of ours told us about how good the steak and eggs were. They were right. It was, I was like, wow, this is, this is expensive for just an entree. These are buffet prices. But, you get the characters. They came around a lot. And the food was good. The bread basket was amazing. They had Nutella. And the food was really good. And that was our day. We went back to Coronado Springs at some point, and then it was off to the airport.
How was your return flight?
No issues. The return flight coming home from a Disney vacation is always just sad, and you dread it. But you're in the airport, and you're just like, the place wasn't as great as it was when we got here. But it was fine. No issues. We had a later flight that evening, and so we had to pick up an Uber again to take us back from the airport. So we were back by probably... It was a Sunday, though, with everybody having work and school the next day. So it was a little bit of a later night, but we made it happen.
Yeah, and is Krissy done with her school year? When do they wrap up in your
they're
area?
not done. They are not done until mid-June.
Yeah, same up here. Actually, it's kind of late June that we're done up here. Although they always fake us out because we have these standardized tests and stuff that the kids have to do, and it's not on the calendar. And then sort of in the weeks leading up to it, it's like you only have to come to school on these days if you have to take this specific test. So Alex always ends up having random days where I was like, I didn't know you were gonna be off today. So.
Yeah, so we were looking forward to our next trip, and
and it's July, right?
Okay. Yeah, we'll be in July. We have a trip was booked before we became DVC members. So, we're spending 5 nights at Animal Kingdom Lodge with no park days planned, but we did purchase Epcot After Hours tickets for Krissy and I.
And remind me of the dates that you will be at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
We are there.
I feel like we just miss each other.
July 6th through the 10th.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Okay. Then we will overlap because I am arriving at Animal Kingdom Lodge on the 6th. And I think I'm there till the 10th or the 11th. I think.
Well, that's funny.
Yeah, I'll be in Kidani Village.
You'll be using your DVC membership.
I will. Let me map this out because we arrive on the 3rd. We do this is Universal, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think we're there at Animal Kingdom the 6th through the 10th, and then we transfer over to Boardwalk for a couple nights at the end.
That's amazing.
That is so funny. Are you in Kidani or Jambo?
We're in Jambo with a Savannah view.
Okay, we're in Kidani with a Savannah view. I don't think we look out onto the same Savannah, but wouldn't it be cute if we could see each other across from balconies and just be like, hey?
Well, you never know. We'll run into each other, I'm sure.
I'm absolutely sure we will.
We have a car. We're gonna have a car.
Oh, wow.
So we have lots of well, because we're not going to the parks, right?
Yes.
Our thought is
that's true.
Let's have a car. We'll hit up. We'll go to Disney Springs. We'll hit up Character Warehouse. We'll go get Gideon's and not at Disney Springs, so there's no line. So we have some ideas.
Okay, I just thought of something. So first of all, I will probably see you around. We're not going to have a car because we've added on several nights at Universal, and I'm doing a Keys to the Kingdom tour.
Exciting.
All these things are adding up. And so I was like, we do not need a rental car. Whenever we need to drive somewhere, we will just take a Lyft or an Uber, and it will be fine. and Disney transportation. If I can, and I think I can, transfer some Legoland tickets to you, would you be interested in going to Legoland? It's, I think, like an hour drive away, but I won free tickets. And I have like
free tickets.
Okay. So what happened was I went to the like a travel show at the Javits Center.
Yeah.
And they had all of these
as like, media.
No, I just went because it sounded fun. No, because it was like an activity to do, and the tickets for the show were something like, I don't know, it was like $17 a person or something. So my friend Jeanette and I, we were like, that's a Saturday activity. Let's do it. And it was the day that there was the blizzard here. And so we were like, I bet nobody's going to come. But I was like, if it's safe enough for me to get out and get on the subway, because I can get it out the subway like right around the corner from my building. And when you get off at the Javits Center, I was like, if I can stand walking through the snow for like 3 blocks, I'm good. And she said the same thing. And I said, okay, I will meet you in the subway, like, and we'll come upstairs and you know, trek through this together, because Samantha Brown was talking at the travel show. Yeah. And that's really what I wanted to, like, I wasn't going to visit all these booths necessarily, but I was like, Samantha Brown's going to be there. It was so cool because it was like, it was actually a Sunday, because the ticket was good for either day. And we were like, everybody knew the snow was coming. I couldn't go on the Saturday. And we said, I bet most people will go on Saturday because the weather's going to be better. And so we went ahead and did the Sunday. We showed up, and no joke, we went to the area where she was scheduled to speak, and we were maybe there 15 minutes early. I was like, let's like go over there and get our seats or whatever. We roll up. There's one couple sitting there.
Wow.
And then so Jeanette and I were like, I'm not going to like distance myself. We sat in the row right behind them, and we're like, hey, what are you doing here? Are you a Samantha Brown fan? And all that. And I think by the end of her talk, there were maybe 20 people in the audience.
Wow, that blizzard really killed it.
Yeah. So she rolled up with a Tupperware container full of her homemade cookies. Was it cookies or was it banana bread? I think it was actually banana bread. And was like passing out napkins and like handing us each banana bread of hers to try. And then we watched her do her presentation. She had slides and everything. And she just basically talked about how she got into travel, and it was so interesting looking at her beginnings, because she used to do musical theater, and it was just something that she auditioned for. And then she became, you know, subsequently passionate. Like, she always enjoyed travel, but then she became passionate about travel and what it can do for you and for your family and everything. And it was just so cool to listen to her. And then while we were there, we were like, we might as well walk past all the booths. And so there were like, you know, a booth about Asia, and then there was like, you know, a booth about North Carolina. It was like such a random mix. Yeah. And there was a booth for Central Florida, and we walked past, and we were like, you know, chatting them up, because we were like, we love Florida. And they had a little thing where you could enter to win something. And so we put our names in, and lo and behold, I got an email like 2 weeks later, and my name was drawn, and I won 4 free tickets to Legoland, which is a little on the young side for Alex. And it's an hour drive away, and I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it into our plans because we're not going to have a rental car. And I got like 4 tickets to some garden thing, but those I don't have vouchers for. I have to actually go somewhere to like physically show up and be like, hi, I'm here for my tickets. And then I got a whole giant, like a really nice tote bag, sort of like an LL Bean boat and tote size bag that says Visit Central Florida on the side. And it came with like a coffee mug and like a stress ball.
That sounds great.
And it had so many goodies in it, and I was just like, wow, that's amazing. I will take it. But I've had these Legoland tickets, and I was like, who can I give these to that has a younger kid that would be able to use them? Because I think they have to be used by like September or something. Like that, you don't have forever to use them. So if you would like tickets to Legoland, I will send you my code.
I will talk to Krissy, but like, he loves Legos,
it's free.
So.
All you have to do is be willing to drive.
And there's 4 of us. It's me, Krissy, Vinny, and her sister-in-law that are coming with us.
Oh, perfect. So. Yeah. And it's literally like I have 4 separate codes. So like basically you just go throw your tickets into your shopping cart, and then you would enter the codes that I have, and boom.
Send me the codes.
Okay.
And I'll let you know if she's if we can work it in, I'll let you know so that we're
Okay.
going to use them. And if not, I'll let you know so that you can maybe find someone else. But
Okay.
I'll talk to her and see what she says.
Okay.
Wow, that's so great.
Fantastic. I know.
Sure. I mean, we have the car, so.
I know. And I felt like, my $17, I got my $17 just out of watching Samantha Brown speak, but to also get this amazing tote bag of goodies and these tickets and stuff, I was just like, that was the best snow day ever.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Well,
now you're going to have to cut all of that out.
No. People will be interested. You'd be surprised. They like hearing stuff like this. I'm sure people are still tuned in at this point. And thank you to those of you who are still tuned in at this point.
Thank you.
I will see you in July. That is for certain.
For sure.
We will make a point to cross paths and enjoy a moment or two together out of our vacations amongst all the other fun that we're having.
Yeah, we definitely want to go over to, there's the pool over there to Donnie, and we'll be all around.
Yeah, perfect. All right, Chris, it's been so much fun talking to you, and I'm so glad I had this idea while we were talking because I was like, I don't want the tickets to go to waste. All right, I will email them to you as soon as we're done here.
Great.
All right, have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you in July.
See you in July.
Thank you again to Chris for coming back on the show. And for anyone wondering, Chris and his family will be taking those Legoland tickets, and I can't wait to run into them in person at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I love it when I actually get to meet my podcast guests in person. I'm sure you'll all get to hear about it when I do my own trip report from my July vacation. And that is all for now. Thank you for listening as always, and keep daydreaming about where you long to be.